Hey there, in this video I would like to demonstrate how to use entry point to fine-tune your own AI model. Okay, and to do that, the easiest way is to just show you a process of me fine-tuning a model. And the model that I will be fine-tuning is a Google Ads PPC keyword classifier. I find that classifier type of fine-tuned AI models, they are very easy to make and they are very, very useful. You also have generator type of AI models that generate some text for you, but those are way more gray, not so black and white, and it's harder to fine-tune those, even though it's very possible. Okay, so here was my problem. I was recently running a campaign for a client and we bid on the 4,000 keywords altogether, and we got a bunch of data back. Now, to make this useful, I would have to categorize each keyword in one of four categories that I came up with, right? So for example, if someone searches for PDF merge online, well, that's a use case type of search, while web merge is a competitor brand type of keyword, right? So the reason why I need to do this is because I can then analyze which keywords are the most profitable to bid on for us. And from some preliminary analysis, we can here see that competitor brand alternatives, they work really, really well with the ads that we run. And also the conversion rates are pretty good, while use case and competitor brands are not that ideal, okay? But I've done this analysis only with 61 words because that's how many words, that's how many keywords I actually classified. To make these results more accurate, I should categorize all 4,000 words, but that would take me a long time. So I made an AI model that can automatically categorize them. In fact, we'll create that AI model right now together. Okay, so all you have to do is just log into entry point. And here we are in our dashboard project view. Now I'm just going to create a new project. I'm going to call it PPC keyword classifier. And it can either be a generator or classifier. It just changes the settings, the pre-settings that you have, but they are essentially the same. They all work on a prompt completion basis. So I'm going to pick a classifier and I have initial setup that I can pick. A blank project is just like that. It's a blank project. We have simple text prompt with category completions. You can also pick this one. Or we also have a option where your prompt can actually be a URL, and an entry point is going to scrape the URL and use that data in your classification. So this is really, really useful, for example, for classifying websites that you want to reach out to for your marketing services. For example, that's kind of what I do. In this case, let's just go with the blank project and let's click create. Okay, so that's our project that made right here. Now we can either import data or create a manual setup. In this setting, I'm just going to show you how to create a fine-tuned model using import data. So let's go. And now I have to take my categories and search terms, and I have to download them and import them in a CSV format. So I prepared that right here. So these are my 61 examples or 60 examples that I have. These are the search terms and these are the categories, right? So this is like the prompt and this is the completion that I want the AI model to spit out. So I would just download as CSV. I already have downloaded this. And then just choose a CSV. There we go. And here I have to select the correct field types, right? Is it going to be a completion or is it going to be a prompt? So here I have category header. Now this should be a completion. Right, use case, that's right. And we can select predefined options with the completion, which is like a drop-down list, not a customized text. And search terms, well, these are the prompt, and this is the text, right? So that's correct. Now let's just click continue, and now I can select how many of these examples that I have right here, right among the 61 that I have. How many am I going to pick for validation? And validation is essentially like, so in fine-tuning, you send your examples of prompt and completions to your large language model provider of choice. In my case, it's going to be OpenAI. And OpenAI then creates another model using those examples. But then, after the model is created, OpenAI can also validate the health of your model, how accurate your model is, based on validation examples that you provide, right? So here I'm just going to go with 15%. Okay, finish. So import has started. Now I can just go to examples and wait for this to finish. There we go. So it imported the examples. Now I can see all my examples that I have in here. And these are all training-based examples that we will send to OpenAI for fine-tuning. And you can see here, so how to create PDF file computer. This keyword is a use case type of category, right? And so on. I can also go here and change that if I want, or click plus and add additional examples, right? Manually. So for example, let's go with, I don't know, find something that I didn't include yet. Word edit online. Word edit online. This is a use case, right? And then I can just have this as training or validation. Okay, have it as training and click save and next. There we go. So I can add examples manually as well. After I'm happy with the examples and the validation, then I can simply go with under fine tunes, select my platform of choice. It's going to be OpenAI now. I'm already active. To become active user, you just have to paste your OpenAI API key, which you can find under personal and view API keys. You just create a new secret key. Copy that, paste it in here, click save, and then you can just go to dashboard and back to your project. There we go. Now we're going to go under fine tunes and click plus. And we are now starting a fine tune. Now we can select the platform. I only have a OpenAI connected. In the future, we'll have multiple platforms that you can select from. And now we can select the base model. Currently, these are the 4 supported models. I'm going to pick DaVinci because I want to create an accurate model with DaVinci. And then if it works perfectly, then I'm going to try to make one with Curie. And if Curie works perfectly, I create one with Babbage. And if Babbage doesn't work perfectly, then I'll stick with Curie, right? So that's how you select the model. I'm going to go with DaVinci and and so entry point just calculated how many tokens I have in my examples and what's my estimated cost for fine-tuning this job. I can also change the number of epochs and some other parameters. These are not like, you can keep them as they are. And to start your fine-tune, you just click start. That's it. We're done. Now we have sent that request to OpenAI and the fine-tuning has begun. Now the model, we also generated a name for it, Salmon Gnat in this case. So it's usually like a animal and a color combination. Just so that because it's easier to understand your models and it's easier to navigate through your models with these types of name instead of like IDs, which is kind of complex, right? So then now we simply have to wait. And while we're waiting, I can also show you some additional things you can do with entry point, specifically how to set up fields and how to format your prompt. So let's do that now. Now to demonstrate that, I'm going to create a new project and it's going to be a, let's call it, I don't know, story writer, whatever. And it's going to be a generator type of project. Let's just click create. Okay, so first, now that we haven't imported the data, because when you're importing the data, these fields will be generated automatically as long as you have a header in your CSV data. We're going to go under fields, and fields are very versatile element, building block element in entry point that you can leverage to really save you lots of time. Now, before I create a field, this is how it looks like. So we can create like a field, text, URL, number, predefined options, and give it a name and target prompt completion. I want to show you why this is so useful. So for example, let's say you got a prompt that's very long. You have lots of examples in that prompt in order for your completions to be good. So what's generally called as few-shot learning. But now you have prompt that's so long that it's kind of slow. It processes a ton of tokens. It's not really efficient. So we want to create a fine-tuned model out of that. Okay. So let's say that you have a prompt and a bunch of variables that you insert into that prompt for the completion to change. Very simple and actually quite useless example would be if you're trying to write a prompt, if you're trying to prompt the ChatGPT to write a story about a gender, race, named name, right? So for example, if I'm trying to write a D&D story about a male orc named Johnny, for example. And so instead of you always writing this prompt, you can just take this and let me demonstrate that real quick for you. Let's go with, so this is going to be what we have here. We have gender, reference is going to be gender. This is going to be prompt, save and close. There we go. That's one field. We can go with, then we have race, also prompt, save and close. And we're going to have text. This is a name, and prompt. There we go. And for the completion, I'm just going to name the field story. There we go. Everything's set up. Now I can go under examples, just click plus, and I can change the name to, okay, so Johnny, orc, male, and then this will be the story. I'm actually going to take this one because I have some examples ready. Female orc, and we have Sandra. And there we go. So here's a very short, like kind of example story. Okay, there we go. So now I basically told OpenAI that, hey, when this is the name and this is the race and this is the gender, I want you to include that in this type of completion. 7x, there we go. Right? Okay, so look here. The prompt is now this: name, Sandra, race, orc, gender, female. And this is the completion, right? Now we can change this by simply going under general, actually under format, pardon. And we can just copy a different type of prompt. There we go. Let's save this. And now all our examples, well, the prompt has changed, right? With some variables that are still here. We can try something else. Let's go with female spider queen, icky spider queen, female. There we go. Got some story here, saving next. And there we go. So the prompt is now consistent and the variables have changed. So that's basically how you would use fields and formatting to create, you know, a generator type of AI model. If you don't want this, if you simply want like a simple, this is a prompt, this is a completion type of model, you don't have to use that. You can simply go here and type, let's go with like a, I don't know, test, whatever. You can create a field that's just like a text, and this is the prompt, and this is a text, and this is a completion. There we go. So that's like the base, right? So we have prompt completion, and the option doesn't, like, it is what it is, right? So the variable is the text itself. So yeah, that could be really useful for you, and I just wanted to let you know that that's an option you have. So now let's check our PBC classifier. So the fine tune is now complete. Yeah, it's not. So I'll circle back when it's done. Okay, so now it's done. And now we can test it out either in OpenAI's playground or in our playground. You can simply select our model, pick a random example from the validations, run a completion. Yeah, and that's correct. Now we can also change this completion to something else. For example, let's go with this one. And that's correct. So this one is new for me, so I can just save it to examples like that. Just go with competitor brand. Let's go. Yeah. And so I can just add some more in like that and just run another fine tune with new examples. So that's kind of it. So maybe another interesting thing is the evaluations, right? So in this case, MS Word Online News, the correct completion is use case, but we got a tool descriptor. So that's wrong. And so this means that we did not provide enough examples to our AI model. And we can further explore this by just picking the correct model, go here and add a stop sequence like that, go temperature to 0. Let's see. And also show probabilities to full spectrum. Yeah, that's would be useful. Oh my God. There we go. So yeah, this is a 98% of chance that it's going to be a tool descriptor, right? So yeah, so this is wrong. And we should add more examples to make the model better, essentially, right? But yeah, that's how you train your AI model with entry point.